Hi, and welcome to the Diamond Report for Tuesday, April 18th, 2017. This is your host, Doug Diamond. Got us looking at Earthquake 3D. We're actually looking at the last 24 hours, but right now we're looking at everything magnitude 6.0 and greater. Now this 2.4 up here in the U.S., in Nevada, is just a new quake, and the new quakes just show up irregardless of how the magnitude is set. In the last 24 hours, though, we've seen two magnitude 6.0s. One here in northern Peru. If I turn the rings off, you can see a little bit better where it is. That's in a region that we get quite a few earthquakes, but not usually ones of that size. That certainly would have shaken people up in that area. I'm not sure how populated that region is. But that was a pretty decent sized quake. And then just 11 minutes after this one happened, this one over here happened, which of course is a really deep quake. Over 600 kilometers deep. You can tell it's deep by how far the rings are off the globe. But it's interesting because it's a sizable quake in an area that's very active. However, because we're past the magnitude 4s and 5s, we're getting into this 6 area here, we may or may not see larger, shallower movement from this. Now, you would think, based on the rule of thumb that you could go by, that this is a deep quake in this area, that in the next 7 days or 10 days or so, we should see a magnitude 7 to 8. And we may, however, and the reason I say that is because usually when you get a really deep quake like this, you can tack on another magnitude or 2 and figure that in the next 7 to 10 days, you're going to see another quake in this area, north and west of this quake. That will be that large, 7 or 8.0. Now, I would say that we probably won't, because it seems like once we get into the magnitude 6.0 quakes that are really deep or bigger, even, you know, 7s that are really deep, you don't always see a release that is a magnitude or 2 larger. So that rule of thumb sort of goes out the window when you start talking about larger quakes. Now, right now, I've got all quakes showing that are over the last 24 hours. You can see it's been, you know, pretty busy as far as the earthquakes go. Normally, I would show you the last 48 hours, and that looks like this. So, you know, a lot of movement, quite a bit of movement on a little bit larger scale than we've seen in the last few weeks, really. We've got several 5s in there and 4s. So it's definitely picking up as far as earthquake activity goes. And then this really deep one is one that we'll have to watch, but it may or may not translate into larger, shallower movement. It could just swarm out. You know, we could get another magnitude 6 or 7. Not instead of releasing as one big quake in this area, it could release as a whole lot of smaller quakes, or a swarm that relieves that same pressure. Right now we have a silent zone here east of Papua New Guinea. So we'll definitely see some movement here. Now, whether or not that's a really large quake, it's only a guess. My guess is, though, that it's probably not going to be. It'll probably be something equivalent. We could see another 6. Also, we've got more of a silent zone over here around Sumatra and southern Indonesia. Again, that's sort of quieted off again. And also, in this region here, which is Nepal. Nepal should definitely be on watch, not for a large quake, but probably in the 4.0 or so range, because the ones on either side of it are that size. So that's not going to be a big quake, but it is a silent zone that we should watch, because it will move in the coming days. So that's all I had to show you on the earthquake update, and we'll move on to the headlines. British role confirmed in Trump spying scandal, but The Guardian is now reporting that it was CIA Director John Brennan who initiated in about August of 2016 what clearly seems to be an illegal domestic investigation of the Trump political campaign. It's on CanadaFreePress.com. Video: Google censoring news as World War III looms. Tech giant targets independent press as North Korea threatens nuclear war. That's an InfoWars article. Japan mulls deploying self-defense forces to counter North Korean missiles. That's on IB Times. Heavily armed Muslim warns U.S. public, quote, be terrified. Cops investigate Facebook Live video outside Christian conference and make no arrests. That's on WND.com. Our world will never be the same after this. Shocking world events. Signs of the times worldwide end times prophecy. That's a YouTube video. Run for your life. The American police state is coming to get you. These tactics are instead about degrading and humiliating a class of people that politicians and law enforcement have deemed the enemy. That's on thedailysheeple.com. From the Daily Mail, Hawaii hunkers down. North Korea tensions sees island call for new emergency attack plans to protect against Kim Jong-un's missile threat. Steve says an excellent financial overview. When counterfeit currency crashes by at least 50% in America, all it is going to take is another major financial crisis, and this nation will go completely and utterly insane. That's on politicalvelcraft.org. How YouTube's shifting algorithms hurt independent media. Google and Facebook are now so dominant that they form a practical duopoly over digital advertising. That's on the New York Times. DPRK and Mexican parties agree on exchange and cooperation. Steve says, see my latest alert for eyewitness testimony to what's taking place between North Koreans and Communist Workers' Party in Mexico. And here's the alert Steve Quayle was talking about. Are North Korean operatives fully activated in Mexico now? If you'd like to pause the video right now and read this, go right ahead. The destruction of the West by left-wing globalists. Ultra-liberal Sweden has become a shell of its former self because liberalism has turned this once peaceful country into a chaotic multicultural cesspool of violence and unrest. That's on townhall.com. From the lastgreatstand.com, Trump grants military full authority to declare war unilaterally. This authorization moves the military further and further away from civilian control. And we have all seen the fate of nations where that happens. Major conflict is almost guaranteed. Wow, that's a terrible move. From the Princess Bride fame, actor Mandy Patinkin, maybe white men in military and government are the bad guys, not Muslims. Isn't that nice? Steve says, living proof the lizards have many shapes and sayings. What a disgusting entity he is, in my opinion. Yeah, that's too bad. I liked Mandy as an actor, but I wish he'd just stay out of politics. It's like all these people involved in acting, and they have to go flapping their gums about politics, and then it never helps their career. Well, it might in Hollywood, but it doesn't help them with the normal people in the world. What would happen if Kim Jong-un fired off a nuclear weapon? For years, the world has heard warnings, but most doubted the day would ever come. Most fall before Allied defenses, but one missile finds its mark. It's the one that matters most. From the Daily Mail, Russia unveils its new Arctic military base housing nuclear-ready warplanes as it seeks to claim the region's huge oil and gas reserves. Fake meat from Impossible Foods, backed by Bill Gates and Google, is loaded with GMOs and MSG. Is anyone surprised? That's on naturalnews.com. Boy, doesn't that just sound yummy. America remains unprepared at the most dangerous point in history as Hawaii nuke prep proposal is too little, too late. Steve says Hawaii begins to get awakened on civil defense while the mainland U.S. lies comatose and unprepared. That's on All News Pipeline. Part 2, Unearthing the Lost World of the Cloud Eaters, compelling evidence of the incursions of giants, their extraordinary technology, and imminent return. That's on Skywatch TV. Russian bombers fly near Alaska. Air Force scrambles jets. That's on Fox News. I mentioned this one the other day. Spit on the cross or die. Muslim persecution of Christians, January 2017. Steve says, if this doesn't provoke Christians and lukewarm pastors to wake up and repent, nothing will. God will be the last one vomiting them out. From ChristianTruther.com, spiritual technology, the coming age of transhuman beasts from the pit of hell. 152 mass death events in the first 108 days of 2017. Does Deagle International Population Destruction Map show the results of Fukushima radiation decimating the Northern Hemisphere? That's on All News Pipeline. Who will speak for America if social media forces the alt-right out of business? That's from Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show. The religion of peace strikes again. 417:17. I believe what we're dealing with regarding Islam is an internal civil war. That's from Doomer Doug. That's not me, though. Man screaming Allah Akbar killed 3 people on the street before telling police he hates white people. From the Daily Mail, Large Hadron Collider finds intriguing anomalies that could rewrite the rules of physics. You don't need expensive weapons. Russia claims it can wipe out the entire U.S. Navy with a single electronic bomb, and bizarre propaganda report claims electronic signal jamming weapon can render planes, ships, and missiles useless. And then Steve says they have proven it 3 times. That's on thesun.co.uk. From TrueNews.com, why are Russia's anti-nuke defenses on high alert? Did anyone hear that the Russian Bear bombers buzzed Alaska, and that Moscow's S-400 anti-nuclear missiles were placed on combat alert? From Paul Craig Roberts, a walk through the destruction of America's once majestic paradise. From Zero Hedge, U.S. restaurant industry suffers worst collapse since 2009. The banking industry treats its customers worse than United Airlines. I wouldn't disagree with that. Houston commercial rents plunge as vacancies hit 22-year high. That's on Zero Hedge as well. Hawaii lawmakers push to reopen fallout shelters amid nuclear war fears. Make Trump furious. Georgia special election voting begins. Pentagon considers shooting down North Korea missile tests. Is Kim ready for war? How Pyongyang's deepest subway on Earth could act as a nuclear bunker. That's on The Express. Kim Jong-un finished? North Korean leader could face America, Japan, and China. Newt Gingrich says, continue to squeeze Kim Jong-un and he will break. That's from Sputnik News. This is from the Don't Actually Quote Me file. From Hillary, I just lost, that's it. 2016 race was Hillary's last. Well, we'll see about that. That's on Sputnik News. Russian experts impressed by North Korean missiles, but say ICBMs still decades away. Ready to fight and win, U.S. Marines deployed to Australia amid North Korean nuclear threat. That's on RT. Hire Americans. New Trump order to crack down on work visas for foreigners. That's also on RT. Protest Trump instead of taking final. Arizona college professor makes odd deal with students. Mike Pence says the United States will not rest and will not relent until North Korea gives up its nuclear weapons, as he vows to stand by Japan 100%. 12 killed after Saudi military helicopter shot down in Yemen. The military complex has taken control of the White House. Free money. Is the Fed paying banks $22 billion to not lend? That's on Zero Hedge. Voting machines stolen before Georgia District 6 special election. That's on the Gateway Pundit. Facebook murderer kills himself in Pennsylvania after police chase. Credit Card Nation. Why the Facebook killer and the U.S. Congress have a great deal in common. That's from Michael Snyder of the Economic Collapse blog. They have no proof. MIT professor explains why the Assad gas attack was a sham. That's on shftplan.com. Google admits Cernovich had another scoop, agrees to stop censoring InfoWars. Cernovich accepts apologies. That's from prisonplanet.com. It's very shocking. Georgia's Cobb County waited 2 days before admitting critical voting machines were stolen. That's on Zero Hedge. School-issued computers spy on children in U.S. without parental consent, from a digital rights group. That's on RT. Crazed Muslim immigrant barges into Christian conference, starts cursing, then shows off weapons cache in car. That's on the Gateway Pundit. Exclusive. Officials defy Trump's promises. 40 miles of border ordered unpatrolled. That's on Breitbart. U.S. border officials suspected of working with drug smugglers, says Border Patrol Council president. U.S. sends 2 F-22 jets in response to Russian Tu-95 bombers near Alaska. That's on Sputnik News. Buchanan warns Trump's war cries drown out America first. China conducts live fire exercise on its new destroyer near North Korea as Pyongyang vows weekly missile tests amid escalating tensions. Disloyal, Ivanka Trump partied with Trump haters prior to the inauguration. Russia takes $30 million in Venezuela oil hostage over unpaid debt. That's on Zero Hedge. United Nations pedophile ring sparks condemnation worldwide. FBI launches terrorist probes in all 50 states. That's on InfoWars. There will be blood. Left prepares for war after Berkeley beatdown. Combat training, better equipment, guns. That's on shtfplan.com. Breaking, Muslim screams Allah Akbar, opens fire in Fresno, kills 3 people. That's on the Gateway Pundit. Antifa leftist group is selling concealed knives on their website for slicing conservatives. That's on the Gateway Pundit. From Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show, who will speak for America if social media forces the alt-right out of business? From Dane Wigington of geoengineeringwatch.org, geoengineering, square clouds, and massive microwave transmissions. You go to the homepage of Geoengineering Watch, and over in the right-hand column where it says recent, it's the topmost article right now. You can read this article and scroll through the different animations that have been captured here. It's pretty interesting stuff. Crony capitalism and the death of internet freedom. Google contractors use rating system to target InfoWars. Breaking, Google admits to censoring InfoWars, claims it will stop. First Amendment victory after search engine was exposed. Obama had to pressure Hillary multiple times to concede on election night. The presidential election of 2016 shocked the world, but no one was more shocked than Hillary Clinton. That's on the Daily Caller. One of my favorite stories of the day, Lil Hero, kid trolls CNN live shot and mouths fake news. Out of the mouths of babes. And here's the kid right here, over this guy's right shoulder. You can tell he's getting ready to mouth the words fake news on camera. That's classic. There's the video clip of it if you want to watch that. Fake news, lying media claims Trump tossed kid's MAGA hat away after autograph. President actually returned the hat to the owner with impressive maneuver. That's on Information Liberation. From Breitbart, Trump plans to visit Paul Ryan's district while the Speaker Ryan is in Europe. Alert, Trump deploys 2 more strike groups to North Korea. From Jerome Corsi, Michael Savage says Trump won't roll over for Google, unlike Obama. Lauren Southern and the madness behind the Battle of Berkeley. Get a first-hand account of what it was like on the ground during Berkeley's recent riot. Sudanese gang bashes autistic boy on Melbourne bus. That's on the Daily Mail. Google admits Cernovich was right and agrees to stop censoring InfoWars. We'll see about that. Libyan tribes hope Trump will stop Obama-Clinton war crimes. Le Pen locks down on Europe's existential crisis, proposes immigration moratorium. Communism crept in while America was sleeping. An exclusive video exposes how communism can ruin countries. Facebook gives staff green light to protest Trump. From Bloomberg, we support our people in recognizing International Workers' Day and other efforts to raise awareness for safe and equitable employment conditions. Trump says North Korea outplayed Obama and Clinton. Elizabeth Warren says, I'm not running for president in 2020. I am running in 2018 for senator from Massachusetts. Steve Stevens dead, committed suicide in Erie, PA, reports say. If the government can't censor InfoWars, Google will. Who will lead the global caliphate, Erdogan or Gulen? Both men want a caliphate, but only one can run it. It seems to me that Erdogan is the guy with the power, though. Gulen is an interesting person, but it seems like Erdogan is the guy with all the eggs in the basket, so to speak. Is Trump a Rothschild agent? A caller has an interesting theory on Trump's rise to power. Well, the Washington Post apparently has it all figured out. Trump voters were motivated by racism in November elections. That's on Breitbart. Alex Jones says the Korean Peninsula crisis is the #1 issue. We haven't had a nuclear showdown this dangerous since the Cuban Missile Crisis. I couldn't agree more. Media calls illegal murderers undocumented immigrants. Leftist media continues to cover up for crimes committed by illegals. Huge asteroid to give Earth a very close shave on April 19th. Needle vending machines are the future of helping drug users. Las Vegas bets. That doesn't sound good. U.S. scrambles jets after Russian bombers fly near Alaska. Is North Korean war part of Trump's 2020 strategy? An interesting theory on Trump's foreign policy. Trump, the new face of crony capitalism? Good news for big business, bad news for the little guy. Boy, let's hope not. NASA will study how fires work in space by torching a spaceship. No astronauts will be on the craft when the fire starts. That's funny. That's on the Daily Caller. AI predicts heart attacks better than doctors. That's according to a study, and it's on IB Times. HHS launched Obamacare website with known security concerns. That's on the Free Beacon. UFC fighter Tim Kennedy re-enlists with the Army Special Forces to fight ISIS. Crybaby college students say truth is a tool of white supremacists. Anti-free speech leftists intensify attacks on the First Amendment. And Alex Jones responds to claims that he is an actor. The media attempts to twist reality in order to attack InfoWars founder. And one last thing before I go, we have a special extra show this Wednesday the 19th on Lost Arts Radio. Dr. Paul Thomas will be joining us. He'll be talking about informed consent and customizing the vaccine schedule. And that's with our host Richard Sachs of Lost Arts Radio. You can find out more information by going to lostartsradio.com and going over here and clicking on upcoming show, or right from the homepage. If you click on the link about tomorrow night's show, you'll go right to this page. This interview with Dr. Thomas fits in nicely with some of the other interviews that we've done very recently with folks like Dr. Brian Hooker, who's been on the show recently, and then also Kent Heckenlively and Robert Moxley and Zen Honeycutt and Del Bigtree. Those are all people that we've interviewed lately, and they've all been associated with Vaxxed, or the Revolution for Truth event that happened in Washington, D.C. on the 31st of March. So if you would, please join us, and I think you'll find this interview with Dr. Paul Thomas very interesting, and he's one of the heroes out there. He's actually doing a lot of good work. So I would invite you to join us on lostartsradio.com. You can also find us on Blog Talk Radio, blogtalkradio.com/lostartsradio. That's all I had for today's Diamond Report. Thanks so much for listening and watching. And if you would, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for further updates, and I'll see you tomorrow.